Today we're going to learn how to make a tassel. This video is brought to you by KPC Yarns. I'm using KPC Yarn Glencoul 4-ply in the color Parakeet. I'm also using a tapestry needle and some scrap cardboard to make this tassel. To purchase this yarn, visit the link in the description below. To make a tassel, you'll want some cardstock. So the cardstock I have here is just a KPC Yarn postcard, and you can use any kind of thick paper, cardstock, or cardboard that you have at home. Now you want the height of your cardstock, so from here to here, to be twice the height of your finished tassel. So if you look at the tassel here, you can see that if I lay it on top of my cardstock, it's half the height of my cardstock. So, for example, if you want a 5-inch tassel, you'll want to cut a piece of cardstock that is at least 10 inches. So we'll start by wrapping our yarn around our cardstock. I will take my yarn and just start wrapping it just like this around my cardstock. And you can make it nice and neat if you like, just wrapping it so that it lays neatly. And you don't need to wrap that many times because we're going to end up folding the yarn in half. So let's continue a few more times. And you can always bunch up this yarn, make it very dense, and wrap it 10 to 15 times around your cardstock. So I've wrapped my cardstock about 15 times, and now I'm going to get my scissors out. And I'm going to cut just a little bit off of the cardstock, just like this. So my yarn is a few inches past my cardstock. Now I'm going to take my yarn off of my cardstock and I'm going to lay it down flat. You can be careful so that your yarn keeps its shape, okay? Just like this. All right, and then you can lay it down and we are going to tie this tassel in half. So I'm going to get some yarn out and I'll cut about a 10-inch length. And I'm going to wrap this yarn around my tassel. So I'm going to take my yarn and go underneath my tassel. Just push it underneath. And then I'm going to tie it right about in the middle of this tassel. So just a regular knot is fine. Right about in the center, and you can push it up or down just to get it as close to center as possible. That looks about right. So I'm going to push it down a little bit more, and that looks pretty centered to me. So I'll tie a knot and I'll tie another knot just to make sure it's very secure. So now I've secured my tassel. Now I'm going to fold my tassel in half. Now you have a sense of the height of your tassel. Now I'm going to cut through the loops of my tassel. I'm going to take my scissors and pull tightly and I'll cut through that loop. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Now you'll want to keep these two strands of yarn, the ones that you use to knot your tassel, away from your scissors when you're cutting because you don't want to cut that off. You'll use these strands of yarn to attach your tassel to your finished project. So here we go. I'm going to cut the tassel open and pull it tight and cut through. So now our tassel is nearly complete. Let's fold it in half so we get the full effect. So this is going to be our tassel body. Now we need to tie a knot around our tassel to secure it. So I've cut a length of yarn that is about 20 inches in length, and we're going to knot up our tassel. So I'm going to pull it tightly like this, and use my strand of yarn and just start wrapping it around. And the end of this yarn, I'm just going to lay it across my tassel and keep it in place with my thumb. And I'm going to pull it really tightly around my tassel and then start wrapping this strand of yarn around my tassel. And you can go very neatly so that the knot appears nice and neat. So here we go. This is what it looks like. And I'm going to go around a few more times. You can go around 10 times is probably enough. And that looks good to me. So at this point, I'm going to cut this strand of yarn a little bit shorter so that I'm leaving about a 5 or 6 inch tail. And then I'm going to take out my tapestry needle. I'm going to thread up this strand of yarn onto my tapestry needle. And then I'm going to secure this thread of yarn inside my knot. So here we go. I'm going to go into the knot as inconspicuously as possible, like this. Pull tightly to secure the knot, and maybe I'll go around on the back of the knot like this, and you might want to push in any strands of yarn that are showing through, push it into the knot, and I'll go into the knot one more time, just like this. There we go. So I've gone in twice, and that's good enough for me. So now I can take off my tapestry needle and start trimming my yarn. And you can trim this tassel so that the ends are very neat. Right now they're all a little bit different length, so you can trim them to be the length that you like. And that is how you make a tassel. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the KPC Yarns channel and like this video if you found it helpful. Check out more videos from KPC Yarns.